So we've talked a lot of theory, we've shown what you're going to need, we've told you a lot of the reasons why. Why don't we go ahead and do a demonstration?
Now for the exciting action shots part of the movie.
So we have a box here of 1,000-year-old vampire. 1,000-year-old vampire is a product that is sent to us in bulk, and so we have a very convenient box of it here. This is a good example of what should be expected from your printers. In fact, they did a really good job with this. We're very happy. But anyways, so this sent along to a distributor. Box looks great. Let's go ahead and double box it into a larger one and show you what that should look like as you ship it off to us. So we're going to set that aside. So we have a 12 by 10 by 8. This box will fit, will be large enough for the 1,000-year-old vampire. You want all of this information on the bottom of the box. That is a good indication that that is meant to be the bottom. I'm going to take the tape gun and I'm going to draw across. I'm going to go 2 times. This is the bottom. I'm going to go get the corners here. That is just to help make sure that the box holds its integrity even as it's being used. So you see, I'm not drawing it across directly. I'm actually holding it above, and then I'm placing it, and then I'm cutting it off there. If you were to go just draw it across, you could end up with uneven tape. This helps make sure that everything stays nice and taut and in place. Okay. And I'm making sure that each layer of tape is overlapping just a little bit with the other one so they work together and are stronger together. Tape together strong. You could continue if you want to do 2 more strips across the top. More is always better because this is going to be the outside box. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, this next technique is one that I learned when I worked in a warehouse for a bronze factory. I was one of the people that would package up all of the bronze artwork to be sent out. And this is what we did to protect our corners and to make sure the box stayed together. So you're going to drop it across like that, drop it down. So we'll be doing the same on the other side. We're going to connect those pieces of tape together. But you're going to do that. That. Pinch them and then pull across, and then use more tape is always better. Go across like that. Now I'm going to do the same on this corner. If things get a little wrinkly, it's okay. And it's okay because you've got multiple pieces of tape. Alright, so now as you can see, we have all these corners nice and done up. You don't have any of the cardboard that a piece of machinery can catch onto. My fingers are slipping right off of that. That's part of the reason why. It also keeps the corners from falling apart when they take big impacts. A lot of the damage that we find with boxes coming into us, this whole corner right here, or any of the other corners, have split open because of the amount of damage that the corners are taking. The tape is going to hold that together and make sure that the box stays together when it gets to us. Now that I have the box taped up on the bottom, I can get the product inside. I'm going to put this down. We're going to place this inside. Nice fit. So I'm going to go ahead and just want to show you, if you can see that, we still have a gap right there. So I'll be filling that in, but I'll be using the corner pieces on each of the corners to make sure that those are protected. We're going to go ahead and use our 6-inch corner pieces here because that'll cover the whole box that is inside. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment with the box in there. Jam it right down into the bottom. Now, if the fit is too tight and you cannot get the corner pieces in there, you can always put packing material in here, close it up, and then tape the corner pieces to the outside of the box. Just use lots and lots of tape to make sure they stay there. As long as you have corner pieces, they can be on the outside. They may take a lot more damage, but that's gonna take the brunt of the abuse. All right, so once they're in there, you can see them here now. They're holding things nice and in place. And I can even shake that. There's a little bit of movement, so I'm gonna go ahead and pack a little bit inside there. So I got this nice big piece of packing material. I poked just a bit in here to keep things from shifting around. Now I'm going to fill this top area with packing material. Okay, and I'm going to need a little bit more, so I'm going to grab just a bit more behind me. I'm going to test it before I seal it up. That's a bit too much give, so I'm going to keep going until I have just maybe 1/8 of an inch of movement. Really don't want a whole lot of movement. Packing material is important because it creates what are called crumple zones. Those are going to absorb energy for you. Those are going to make sure that energy is not imparted to your product. They're going to collapse before your product takes the damage. So I'm adding just a little bit more in. I'm making sure it's as evenly distributed, not just one big ball in the center. Making sure it's getting into those corners as well. Okay, now let's test it. Yeah, see, I'm not able to push in a lot more. That is a good amount of packing material. Okay. And I'm just massaging it here because I want to make it feel nice. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. I'm pulling things together, make sure things are nice and tight across. I'm going to hold it together as I'm going to do the same thing I did on the bottom. Once again, let's make sure that the tape overlaps, because the tape overlapping means that they're working together and they're staying nice and strong. You don't have to go all the way to the edge. More tape, you can never go wrong with more tape because this is the top of this box and this is just a demo. I'm just going to do 3 strips on the top and then do the sides. So I'm doing the side here. I want to make sure that the tape goes all the way and meets the tape that's coming up from the bottom. And do the other side, making sure that the tape is going all the way across those edges. And once again, we're doing this to make sure that these corners don't split. If they split, that means product or whatever's inside can end up coming out. All right, so this is a completed box. Now this is going to be able to hold on to the product. It's going to take the damage. The most common points of impact that are going to damage your product are going to be your corners. So, and that's not just these corners, but also all of these. It's one reason why you want your product flat in the box. You don't want it all stacked up and jumbled. You want it nice and organized. It's also why you want those corner protectors. I can hit this with a hammer and I might dent the box, but it's not getting to the product. Double boxed, corner pieces, tape all the way down, nice and solid. I bet I could even stand on this, but I'm not going to do that. So. Another best practice that we recommend all of our publishers do is to make sure that there is some type of shipping manifest or invoice on the box so we know what is inside of here. You can get these envelopes that say invoice enclosed pretty easily, pretty cheaply. You can just undo the bottom of that, just slap it on. You'll be able to fold up your invoice, put it inside there. So for example, take this piece of paper and fold it, and it looks like we'll have to fold it one more time. Slips right in, and then you'll take this off and do that. If you can avoid putting this over the crease, it helps, because sometimes people will be moving quickly and not paying attention, and they'll just cut right across. That means that this invoice is now cut in half and I have to do a jigsaw puzzle to figure out what was sent. You can slap it on the side of the box as well. That is also a good place for it. Or if you want to make sure it stays protected, it's never going to fall off, just make sure that it's inside the box on top of the product. So it's the first thing I see when I open up this box. Knowing what's inside is important, because if I do a count, and we always try to do a physical count of all the product that comes in, if that count is off from what is on the invoice, then I can communicate that to you and we can try to figure out what the problem is. If the problem's on our end, the problem was on the shipper's end, or maybe there was a miscommunication. But it's always good to have this so we know what's in the box and there's no guessing what the numbers are or what should be expected. Also, it's also recommended that you tell us ahead of time. Send us an email. I'm sending 50 units of my book. Here is a tracking number. I'm shipping it through this service. That way we can help track that process along the way, and if there's any issues with the shipper, it doesn't arrive or it's arriving late, we can assist you in figuring out those issues as well. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to use a box cutter appropriately. Knife safety is very important for us here in our warehouse. We also don't want you to be damaged. Getting cut can be not just traumatic, but it can also cause nerve damage in your hands if you get a cut in your hand. It can be potentially lethal if you end up dropping a knife and getting cut in certain areas. So be careful. That's why I would recommend using a box cutter that has an extendable blade and a blade that only extends out maybe about an inch. This also allows me to control how far out the knife gets. Okay. So to open up a box, I recommend only opening it so just the tip is there. And then you're not going to go straight down like this. You're actually going to cut at an angle. You're going to come in like this and draw across. So I'm going to push in and, oops, sorry, messed that up. I'm going to push in and I'm going to draw across right where the crease is. And now I can put it out a little bit more for the sides here, and I'm going to go horizontally. I'm going to move slowly towards me. Okay, see that popped up. I'm going to rotate it so it's always with your dominant hand. Draw it across, and then everything pops open nice and good. If you use it at an angle, instead of pressing down, none of the product in the top of the box will be damaged. We have had books that have slashes right across the covers. We can't sell those, unfortunately. So it's also a reason why we like to pack packing material on the top, because the packing material will also cover us in case somebody's in a hurry or doesn't have good knife practices when it arrives. Other considerations with the knife. Always, always close your blade when you are done with it. If you're going to set a blade down, make sure that it's closed. That's because if somebody's in a hurry and the blade was open and they went to go grab it, if they end up grabbing the blade, they're going to cut themselves. If it's closed, there's no danger of that. If you drop a knife, jump away from it. You don't want the blade to hit your foot. That would be bad. And never ever throw a knife. It's never a good idea. So keep safe with your knives, please.